It felt like the world was warping around you as your legs wobbled. Your body buckled over as you resisted the urge to vomit. Ah! Did I die? What's up guys, it's your girl Shonyx and welcome to Mushroom Oasis. This game is about us trying to find our lost cat in the forest because of course we gotta bring our darling cat home. And while we go on our adventure, we may or may not run into a strange guy who might fall in love with us. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. What's my name? Let's go with Sunshine. What's my cat's name? Well, I don't know. The cat's name is Toad. And your cat is a male. Toad has been missing for a while now. He was an indoor cat, but had the tenacity of a wild cat on a mission, trying to leave whenever the door was open. Catios and playtime just wasn't enough for the little mister. I figured he'd come running if I left out some food by the porch. 3 days later, still no cat. I tried everything I could think of. Asking around the neighborhood, putting up missing cat posters. Sadly, nothing came from my efforts. I couldn't search for him during the day since I had work keeping me occupied. There's only so many hours in an evening I could yell around the streets looking for him. There's only one place left I could think of that he might have ran off to. The woods by my house, right across the street. That wasn't the first place he looked. I've definitely caught him eyeing the birds and squirrels that ran alongside the perimeters from the front window, his teeth clicking in excitement. I was no outdoorsy person by any means. In fact, the thought of going in there scares me. But I had to find him, or at least try. The first weekend that came around, I packed up some water, Toad's favorite treats, and a compass to be safe. I wasn't sure where to even begin looking for him, so I started walking in a straight line, calling out his name every few steps. It certainly didn't take long for me to realize I was way in over my head. Why did I think this was a good idea? It was hard to find my bearings within the surrounding trees. I didn't want to admit I was lost, at least not yet. I could only squint down at my compass as the needle spun slowly. Pretty sure they weren't made to do that. Did I really bring a busted compass on my first venture out in these woods? First of all, I wouldn't have even brought a compass. Who uses compasses these days? Seriously, I just would have been like, hey Siri, open Google Maps. Oh, Siri, I wasn't talking to you. No, I wasn't talking to you. Figured that would just be my luck. The only thing risking my own safety was my own incompetence. I shook my head hastily. No time for negativity. Toad was out there somewhere, cold and lost and hungry. I had to keep going. It's been hours. I'm so lost. I don't even know why I kept searching, even after the moment I'd realized that. Why did I think this was a good idea? Bro, I don't like this buzzing in my ear. Hunger had been gnawing at my stomach for a while now, having missed breakfast and lunch altogether. The heat and humidity from the afternoon sun was unbearable, but the cooling air did nothing to soothe me. Even if I were to head home, I couldn't even pinpoint where that was. What do people even do in this situation? I knew it was baseless optimism, but walking onwards was really the only thing I could think of to do. Surely I'll come across something familiar. I trudged on, my shoes carefully avoiding the tree roots intertwined across the forest floor. But in my weakened state, plus the approaching darkness, I found myself stumbling through the rough terrain. My feet hit something soft, jutting out of the ground. Ack! My hand shot out as I lost my balance. My feet clumsily tried to find purchase as I wobbled backwards, arms flapping. Poof! What? My shoe had landed smack dab in a circle of mushrooms, the brunt of it causing a wispy cloud to erupt from the cluster. Oh no, we're about to pass out. Did some drugs. I stuck my nose in my elbow to avoid breathing it in. I couldn't differentiate one tree leaf from another for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure humans aren't supposed to inhale whatever the heck this was. It smelled strongly of rotten wood and wet dirt, even as it cleared. Something shiny quickly caught my attention. I stooped down to pick it up, gasping under my breath. It was Toad's collar! Dang, he went really far in the forest. Wait a minute, why does that look like the shape of a dog or something? Y'all see this? That looks like the shape of a dog or a cat or something. Covered in whatever the heck these mushrooms released. I looked around desperately for any signs of him. Toad! Toad! Psst, 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 psst. I coughed from inhaling some of the remaining dust floating in the air. I should really steer clear from this. Pocketing Toad's collar, I retreated carefully until I could breathe again. Stepping back, I could still smell it. It must have stuck to my hair and clothes. A quick once-over confirmed my suspicions with a slight cringe. A thin yet generous coating of it covered my sleeves and jeans. Dang, that's a lot of dust. I leaned against a tree, dusting off my clothes in a naive attempt to get the dust and smell out to no avail. If anything, it felt like I'm breathing more of it in. What used to be musty now turned sweet, and I found myself inhaling even deeper, trying to pinpoint the smell. Cucumbers? It smelled like fresh cucumbers. A tingly feeling crept up my hands and neck, pinpricks spreading across my limbs as a strange heat reached my face. I started to feel drunk and woozy. My senses were numb. Oh, yep, we're drugged. It should freak me out, and yet a strange comfort washed over me. I should lie down, right now in fact. My legs gave out from underneath me, my body toppling over at an awkward angle. I laid there, and stared, and stared, and stared. It was nice here. A peaceful calm. A perfect place for a nap, even. My eyes grew heavy as I swam in and out of consciousness. Yeah. A nap sounds really good right about now. Oh? Lots of critters passing through lately. Sorry this happened to you, little one. It could have been anyone, but it had to be you. Wait, a human? How'd you end up all the way out here? Still breathing, too. Ah, sheesh. I can't leave you here. What should I do? Y'all like my voice that I'm doing for him? Y'all like the voice? I woke with a jolt. It was warm, but comfortably so. I could feel the weight of a blanket on me as I tried to sit up. I couldn't move my body. My fingers twitched uselessly at my sides as my eyes darted around in panic. Glancing about, I could see the interior of a cabin, or at least the ceiling of one. I couldn't see much past the corner of my eyes. Where was I? How did I get here? A desperate feeling rose in my chest. I had to leave, right now. This was wrong. I wasn't meant to be here. I could hear the crackling of a fire nearby, likely the source of warmth I had felt on waking up. I could also hear footsteps approaching. Should I pretend to be asleep or stay awake? Okay, if I was in that situation, I would probably pretend to be asleep. I ain't gonna lie, I'm pretending to be asleep. I shut my eyes quickly, hoping they hadn't noticed. I slowed down my breathing, willing my face muscles to stay still. Actually, I would have been so trash, because I have a terrible poker face. I would have been like... From beside me, someone chuckled softly. I already know you're awake, Firefly. Come on now. I'm not gonna hurt you. See, I told y'all, my poker face, it revealed it. Oh, wow, okay, hey! I fluttered my eyelids, straining to look at the person approaching. My eyes widened as I took in their appearance, the protrusions from their forehead catching my attention. Not to mention the green skin. The stranger didn't sense my unease as they heaved a sigh of relief. You're awake. That's good. Very, very good. How are you feeling? I blinked. Oh, sorry. I forgot about that. Here. The person held a cup to my lips, a strong, sweet smell coming from the rim. A gentle hand grabbed my chin to open my mouth. I couldn't even move to resist. Don't worry, it'll help you feel better. I promise. Drink up. As the liquid hit my tongue, all I could feel was a vague sense of heat. As I kept drinking, taste and texture returned. The sweetness of berries and chamomile coated my taste buds. I could even detect a hint of mint. I lifted my head, finally, hands fisted at my sides as I propped myself into my elbows. The person kept a steady hand on my chin, careful not to pour in too much in case I choked. I finished every last drop, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I stared at my fingers, realizing I had full autonomy over my body again. Good as new. Now how are you feeling? Better, thank you. The stranger laughed. Oh, I like the way you sound. Been ages since I've talked to anyone, much less with a voice as nice as yours. I brushed off their strange compliment, finally looking around the cabin properly. Hold on, you like my voice? I brushed off their strange compliment, finally looking around the cabin properly. It was a simple room filled with sparse but decorated wooden furniture, fit for someone living alone. An open archway to the right led to what I assumed was the kitchen. Next to it, a door was closed shut. Possibly the bathroom? Taking it in, there was a common theme of knitted decorations strewn about. Any available surface had patterned, knitted tablecloths covering it. An unfinished project laid beside the bedside table where I sat, a pair of knitting needles jutting out of a pile of yarn from a small basket. As far as I could tell, it looked like the beginnings of a green scarf. The stranger was comfortable in staying silent, observing me as I glanced around. They tossed their hat into the bed, scruffing their hair and making it even messier. With their hat off, their unique features were impossible to ignore. Sorry, but what are you? Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Hiya, I'm Mychael, with a Y. Mychael, hey, I shook my head. No, I meant that, Mychael stared at me, their left ear twitching. You look very, he snorted. Ugly? Off-putting? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say ugly. No, just different. Different, huh? You're just being nice. Well, then explain yourself. I mean, that's kind of rude, isn't it? I paused for a moment before pinching my nose bridge, exhaling slowly. I'm just... Sorry, it's been a long day is all. I should be thanking you. If it helps, it's, a skin condition? Is that what you humans call them? The way they said it didn't sound confident. And the ears? Genetics? Right. And I assume I waved vaguely at their horns. Antenna? Those things are just cosplay to complete the look? Would that make a convincing argument? I squinted. Maybe? And yeah, it's cosplay. It still doesn't explain everything. Mychael huffed a nervous laugh. Listen, I'm just a guy living by himself in the woods. Whoa, what's going on? You don't need to worry yourself further than that, okay? Something in his tone compelled you not to question his existence anymore? He's just some guy living in the woods, completely normal. What? Mind control? Right, completely normal. There's no way he just manipulated me like that. I'm Sunshine. Mychael beamed. Nice to meet you, Sunshine. I fiddled with the blankets as Mychael scooted closer from the edge of the bed. I know I already asked, but how are you feeling? Any aches, sores, nausea? Intrusive thoughts, weird impulses? Fever, maybe? I don't think so. He placed his hand on my forehead before I could react. Whoa. His hands were calloused, quickly retracting as he gave a thoughtful hum. You seem to be lucid. That's a good sign. Great. He hummed absently, his twitching ear reminding me of a protruded cat. My cat! Oh, shoot. So sorry if this is out of nowhere, but have you seen a cat around these parts? His name is Toad. He's a sweet little thing, about this big, skittish, but he can approach strangers if he needs to. I pulled out my phone to show pictures of him, only to find it missing from my back pocket. Wait, where is it? I haven't... Huh? Your cat. I haven't seen it. What about my phone? Oh, I see. I slumped against the pillows, rubbing at my temples. He lost his collar, too. Even if anyone finds him, they wouldn't be able to tell where he's from. Dang it. Mychael stayed quiet, watching me from his side of the bed. You came all the way out here for a cat? Huh? Of course. To the point where you're willing to run yourself ragged this deep in the forest? For a cat? Do you realize how far you've wandered away from the nearest town? I found you near unconscious, in an area nobody's set foot in for years. For a cat. Why do you almost sound mad? Why do you almost sound annoyed with me? He sounded like he was holding himself back from giving me a stern lecture, as if in disbelief I had such little regard for my own survival. My cheeks grew heated at how stupid, reckless that sounds. I mean, he's not just a cat, he's my family. I know it was stupid for even trying, but I had to. Mychael eased up, shoulders tense, as he looked me over from underneath his unruly bangs. Family, huh? He finally tipped his head at me with a smile. You're willing to wander this far for such a small critter? I've met my fair share of lost campers, hunters, and a few runaway teens or two. But someone looking for their pet. Why do I feel like he's also lying, though, about not seeing the cat? Because didn't he talk about seeing a critter before he said a human? I feel like he saw the cat. You're kind of weird, aren't you? I sputtered, much to his amusement. Speak for yourself. Who cosplays in the middle of the woods? Cosplay. Mychael laughed, a deep, hearty one resonating from his chest. Fair. I think I'm starting to like you, Sunshine. Likewise? His smile widened, but something about it was off. He was showing too much teeth. It felt like he hadn't talked to someone in a really long time and forgot how to smile the right amount. I rubbed my neck, trying to think of something else to say. Can I ask, how did I get here? Oh, like I said, I found you in the woods not far from here. Oh, sheesh, really? I knew I was tired, but I couldn't have possibly... I did step in something important. Familiar pinpricks crept up my skin. Home. I need to go home. Mychael stiffened as he grabbed my shoulder. Never mind that. You'd fallen unconscious from a heat stroke. What? Heat stroke? No, that wasn't what happened. I wasn't. I was fine up until... Mychael shook his head, insistently leaning close. No, Firefly, you weren't fine at all. If I hadn't found you when I did, well, who knows what could have happened. You could have gotten injured or attacked by a wild animal. There's danger in these woods, you know. No, he was right. You had been so foolish. How did you think you could do this on your own? Searching for your cat in the middle of the woods. And to go without bringing any water? Passing out from heat stroke of all things. How could you have been so stupid? I shook my head, brain too foggy to pick apart my thoughts. He sounded confident, so why should you doubt him? Well, if it means anything, I'm glad you were there. Mychael relaxed, hand on his lap once more. You know what I noticed? That now the difference is when it's something that's the truth, I say I or my or something. But when it's not the truth, it's saying you. You did this. You were thinking this. You know what I mean? He grinned at me. So am I, Sunshine. I'm definitely glad I found you. His eyes were hidden fully behind his unruly hair, but I couldn't help feeling how intensely they were fixated onto me as he said that. The hairs on the back of my neck stood. Sure. Without a distraction, I've only just realized how uncomfortable I was sitting still. The blanket on me was starting to itch, just as the desperate need to get home began to rise in me again. This was interesting, but I should really get going now. But wait. My host jumped up from the bed before I could. I mean, you can't... I can't just let you wander around in the woods this late. Please, just stay a bit longer. But Mychael, Come. He grabbed my hand and led me across the room. We stepped into the kitchen, a fragrant smell of cooked potatoes and meat hanging in the air. Oh, wait a minute, I am a little hungry. 2 plates had been set out on a small circular table, complete with utensils and mugs of tea. I wasn't expecting guests today, so the food is nothing fancy. But join me for dinner? He looked so hopeful, ears drooping. He's manipulating me again. You'd feel so bad if you had to say no. Say yes, say no. Wait, y'all, should I resist the manipulation? Should I go with it or should I resist? I feel like I should resist. I feel like I should resist. But I don't know what kind of story I'm gonna get by resisting. I'm gonna resist. I ignored the pleading voice in the back of my head, stealing my resolve. Strangely enough, the second I made up my mind, the faint static that fogged my thoughts cleared instantly, only replaced with the urgent need to go back home. Mychael goes quiet, his grip on my hand tightening before he loosens his hold. I see. If that's what you want. But are you really sure? Yes, it's what I'm meant to do. I feel like that we might get a juicier story if I keep resisting, so that's why I'm gonna resist, because I don't know, I feel like we're gonna get a juicier story, but I don't know. Like, I feel like just going along with him, I don't know if that's gonna give the juiciness. His ears flattened at my words. Oh. See, this is what I mean. I feel like it's more interesting. He laughs an empty laugh, mouth twisting into a crooked grimace. Surely you wouldn't mind sitting down for a quick meal. Just a bite even. See, now I'm more suspicious. Please. His hands fisted at his sides. Do you really have to go? Whoa! Whoa! Yes. Actually, dinner sounds really, really good right now. I don't know. Should I keep resisting? Let me save. Yes, I have to go. Mychael? Mychael stared at me as if looking for something. Finally, he sighed in defeat. All right. I guess I can't keep you here. Not anymore. Let me lead you outside. Mychael ushered me towards the back door, swinging it open as he sidestepped to let me out. The chill breeze crept along my arms. I turned towards him one last time. Thanks again for everything. He was silent for a moment, staring past me into the trees. You're welcome. Be careful on your way back. I'm sorry there's not much more I could do for you. He's been nothing but gracious. It's strange for a farewell, but I was too occupied with thoughts of returning home to care. I looked over to the woods, the shadows cast from the moonlight causing some hesitation in me. Do you mind giving me some directions as a head start, you know? I thought he was gonna help me a little bit. Mychael looked at me finally, then to the horizon with a tilt of his chin. Keep heading in that direction. You'll come across a trail that'll lead you straight home. Well, dang! I waved at him as he shut the door, the mechanism locking shut with a click. I stood there for a moment, questioning if I had made the right decision or not. Another urgent thought compelled me to leave. This is no place for me. I have to go. It was already too late to go back, so I gathered my resolve and walked away. I walked and walked. Trees blended into one another after a while. I should have been afraid or concerned, but it felt right. The darkness that surrounded me was too comforting for me to feel in danger. I steered away from the direction Mychael showed me ages ago, my feet willingly carrying my body to someplace specific. Wait, what? You steered away from the direction? Someplace special, a final destination, here. The patch of mushrooms I had stepped in earlier. I was meant to be here. I've always meant to be here. I laid down in the cold, wet dirt and closed my eyes. What? What? Did I die? Wait, am I not supposed to listen to the mushrooms? Were the mushrooms telling me to do stuff? Was it the mushrooms that were hypnotizing me? Was that not even my own thoughts? Bro, remember what I said that looked like some kind of animal? Was that the cat? Wait, does anybody who goes into the forest die here or something? There's not much I could do if the forest has staked its claim on you, Firefly. I wish I'd found you sooner. Sleep well, sunshine. Ending 1, peaceful slumber. I didn't know. I didn't know. Oh my goodness, I got cooked. This was a sign. How many endings is there? There's 4 bad endings and 1 neutral ending. Well, dang. Bruh. Okay, let's load this one. And let's say actually dinner sounds really good right now. So he's a good guy then. I need to listen to him, right? I should listen to him. Mychael's jaw dropped for a second before he quickly recovered. Yes, of course. Here, come sit. I'll serve up the cottage pie in a minute. I sat as instructed, my stomach rumbling something fierce as the smell was the only thing I could focus on. Yes, this was definitely the right choice. What was so important that you had to leave so soon? The outside world can wait. You could stay here and enjoy my company. Actually, I should ask, are you okay with meat for dinner? I can make something else for you if that's not your preference. I'm okay with meat. Oh, okay, you'll be having the same dinner as me then. Mychael pattered about the small kitchen with an almost giddy excitement. He put on a pair of knitted oven mitts, humming as he stooped down and pulled out a steaming tray of pie from the wood stove. Y'all, I just realized the cat really dead. The cat's dead. Aw, man. That sucks. The smell, it filled out the kitchen in an instant as he brought it to the table, my stomach rumbling louder in response. I'm pretty sure Mychael could hear it, but he just smiled as he served up our portions. He discreetly cut me a bigger piece, which I was grateful for. It looked so good. The crust was a nice golden color, streaked with crisp lines and garnish. The meat and veggie filling looked absolutely delectable, the savory sauce leaking into the plate. My mouth was watering, unsurprising considering the fact I haven't eaten all day. Careful now, it's still hot. It was fair advice, but I didn't wait more than 2 blows before biting into my first forkful. Ah! It was definitely way too hot to eat straight from the oven. Mychael kept a polite expression, the corner of his mouth lifting as I panted with the piece still in my mouth. He gave me a few seconds to recover, elbow planted on the table. Is it good? I nodded vigorously, even though my buds were burning. You're not gonna taste nothing now. Now your taste buds are all burned. I couldn't taste anything. I knew it, see? I was like, now you can't taste nothing. He laughed. It's usually better on the second bite. I slowed down, hand on my mouth, as Mychael poked a fork into his own slice. I tentatively blew on the pie to make sure it was cool before taking another bite. He was right. The second bite was a lot better. The seasoned potato crust was nice and crisp on top, cheesy and creamy in the middle. The savory meat filling was well cooked and bursting with flavor. Every bite felt like home. My host watched me enjoy the meal from across the table. Do you like it? Yeah, this tastes amazing, Mychael. He flushed from the compliment, rubbing the back of his neck. I'm glad. I like to think of myself as a decent cook, but I've never been able to get anyone else's opinion on that. Do you like baking in particular? Not always. I usually go for simple dishes with any ingredients available. I just realized everything gotta be fresh if you live in the forest. You know what I mean? It's like fresh. I nodded amicably, though didn't say much else. I was more focused on scarfing down dinner, which thankfully Mychael didn't seem to mind. The overall atmosphere was nice and homely, and I could hear Mychael tapping his foot from underneath the table. I guess he was that happy to have someone stay for dinner. It did seem like he lived alone, judging from the surroundings in his cabin. So I'm kind of curious. He perked up instantly, his focus solely on me. What made you want to live all the way out here? Oh, well, when you look like me, it's kind of easier to just live out of sight from everyone else. A pang of guilt shot through my chest. I was giving him a hard time about how he looked too. He must have sensed it clear as day on my face. Not that you're one of them. You've actually been nicer than most. Though I wonder if... His smile turned strained. Never mind. My point is, it's better here than anywhere else. That's a lonely life. Why don't you try the tea, Firefly? He seemed uncomfortable now, easing into a different topic. It's probably best to follow along. Oh, sure. I reached out towards my mug, only to push it off the edge with my clumsy fingers, bro. Wait, I bent over the side to grab it, fully expecting it to fall just out of reach and land on the floor into broken pieces. It never did? Oh. Instead, a long green appendage was twisted around the ceramic mug, securely keeping it in place. Not even a drop had fallen out. Well, this is awkward. My eyes trailed along the length of it until I pinpointed that it came from behind Mychael. The rest of it partially hidden beneath his cardigan. Mychael, is that yours? No. Mychael buried his face in his hands, the strange appendage from before lowering to his side, mug in tow. I'm sorry, Sunshine. I think it's time I was honest. Oh! He lifted his head, fingers carting his hair back to reveal his eyes. I froze as multiple pairs of irises stared right into mine before darting to the side and avoiding my gaze. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is who I really am. But please don't be scared. Okay, let's save. Okay, see, if I freak out, I mean, so far, he hasn't been bad. He's only manipulated me a few times, but he only did it because he didn't want me to die in the forest. So I'll remain calm because he hasn't really shown much signs of being evil. I swallowed audibly, willing myself to not look away. He seemed to be holding his breath as I gripped the edge of the table. It felt unsettling every time he blinked those eyes in succession, even when he wasn't looking at me. Was it real? It had to be. Everything about him suddenly made so much more sense. The isolation, the avoidant behavior. He looked freaky, yes, but he also looked sad. Aww. I swallowed thickly. I'm not scared. Cat. Mychael's many pupils blew wide, dilating like an excited wildcat. It sent a shiver up my spine. Okay, maybe a little bit scared. Okay, yeah, let's be honest. Sorry. He hastily grabbed an empty plate and hid behind it, shoulders scrunched up despite his stature. Would it help if I just tied it? I could fix my hair like before, if that's what you prefer. His voice was muffled behind the ceramic barrier between us. It was kind of endearing. I slowly reached out to touch his hand, the slight brush of my fingertips making him jump in place. Mychael, yeah? Can you put that down? He slowly lowered the plate. His eyes were still darted to the side, avoiding me. Can you look at me? Don't look at me like that. Sorry, I just can't stop looking. It is interesting. I just realized that he blushes blue. This was so awkward. His hands were shaking. I looked down at the mug still floating next to him, hanging on for dear life. I reached over and plucked it straight out of his grasp. I tentatively took a sip, noticing how Mychael was watching me over the rim of the mug. The taste was mildly spicy with an almost earthy bite to it. I recognized it instantly as ginger tea. It's almost room temperature, but it's still pretty good. Huh? You wanted me to try the tea, right? I like it, so thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Mychael relaxed back into his seat, following my lead as I picked up my fork once more. The silence didn't last long as Mychael fidgeted. Are you really okay with this? With me? I gave him a once-over, really taking in his features. It's very different than what I'm used to, but I think I can learn to like it. Is that weird to say? I mean, you're not bad to look at. It's actually kind of, ding it, what do I say? You're kind of cool. Yeah. It's like something out of science fiction. Is that a good thing? Yeah! Oh, my point is, your appearance shouldn't matter. You've been nothing but kind to me so far. I'd be the worst kind of person to judge someone based on how they look. I haven't known you that long, but you seem like a good person. You're fine, Mychael. I smiled at him. We're fine. I see. He fidgeted some more before nodding, smiling a bit. Thanks, sunshine. I'll cherish this moment forever. Aw. He beamed at me as he enthusiastically went back to eating his food. That was something. We continued with a bit of small talk, mostly stories about Toad or snippets from my personal life. Mychael hung on to every word I said, not bothering to elaborate much about himself, despite my burning curiosity. I could tell he was extremely insecure about his appearance, so it's probably best I kept my questions to myself for tonight. We cleared up the kitchen in relative silence, Mychael storing away the rest of the pie as I washed the dishes by the sink. Being out here in this remote cabin, I wondered how he had running water. Maybe I'll ask him later. So, thanks for dinner. Thanks for the company. Oh, and please, take the bed tonight. But, you're my guest and I'm the host. Take the bed, okay? All right, I'll be out of your hair first thing in the morning. Mychael got quiet, staring at the floorboards. With his hair out of the way, I could finally read his expressions. He did seem upset. Is that okay? I do need your help, though. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get lost again on my own. His tail flicked behind him. Yeah, I'll bring you home tomorrow morning. I heaved a sigh of relief. Thanks, Mychael. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah. Good night, sunshine. Good night, Mychael. He seemed really happy being able to say that. I plopped myself down into Mychael's bed, getting comfy beneath the blanket. Mychael was gathering some blankets of his own to make a makeshift bed on the floor in front of the fire. He had an impressive collection of knitted items, a comfortable nest forming in the center of the room. My eyes trailed after his tail, now out in the open as it flicked and swayed. Kinda like a cat. I miss Toad. Now with a full stomach, dozing off came easy. I didn't even realize how tired I was. I listened to the gentle crackling of the fire, my vision darkening. Okay. Oh! Why'd he just appear right in front of me? Good night, sunshine. Huh? A soft humming invaded my dreams, stirring me awake. What? I blinked my eyes open to unfamiliar surroundings, swaddled in a blanket that clearly wasn't mine. Where? Oh. I spotted the familiar figure of my host seated on a stool in front of the fire, hands deftly working on a green scarf bundled in his lap. His back was towards me, but I caught glimpses of his fingers as the needles softly clicked against between the yarn. He looked incredibly adept at using them, the rhythmic movements almost hypnotic as the fibers wound together into an intricate pattern. I slowly stirred into a sitting position, rubbing at my eyes. The movement quickly caught his attention, ear flicking in my direction before his eyes trained onto me. Just like last night, his pupils blew up as we made eye contact. His expression lit up the instant he saw me. Sunshine, hey, I'm glad you're awake. You looked so tired, I didn't want to disturb you until you've gotten enough rest. Good morning, Mychael. Good morning, Sunshine. Did you sleep well? Yeah, I was still too groggy to answer his question, a yawn slipping out as I stretched. He smiled kindly, a soft chuckle under his breath. Like a baby, then. He pointed over his shoulder to the door beside the fireplace, tilting his head towards it. You can freshen up in the bathroom if you like while I start on making us some food. I'd have eaten breakfast by now, but I want you to join me while the food is still hot. How did eggs and toast sound? Where do you even get bread? Sounds delicious. Do you have something else? I mean, I'm not gonna be picky. Great. I'll see you in the kitchen then. He tucked away his knitting materials and set it aside. Oh, I also have a surprise for you after breakfast. It's not the most exciting surprise, but just join me when you're ready. He ducked into the kitchen without another glance. I could hear his boots thud about the floorboards, cabinets opening and closing in succession in the kitchen. I suppose that's my cue. I rolled out of bed, leaving the warmth of Mychael's blankets and trotting over to the door Mychael pointed out. Okay, what's the surprise he has? Hopefully it's the cat! Maybe? No? I don't know. Stepping inside, I didn't know what I was expecting when he said he had a bathroom, but it was surprisingly spacious. Everything looked like it was carved and polished out of wood. He seemed to have everything you'd find in a modern bathroom, a sink with a cabinet, a shower, and a tub, and even a toilet. A wooden toilet sounds interesting. Curious, I crept over to the toilet in particular. That's literally me. Like, well, I would inspect it too. There wasn't a tank like you'd expect where the water would be stored. Instead, there was a compartment next to the side full of sawdust and a scoop. I expected it to have at least a bit of a smell, but it was surprisingly odorless. There was even a roll of toilet paper on the side. It was no flushing system, but it was hygienic. Mychael must have done his research. Walking over to the sink, I stared at the faucet before hesitantly twisting it. I jumped when I heard the rush of water pouring in, swirling in the basin before disappearing to who knows where. Wow. Why am I impressed by a dang functioning bathroom sink? I helped with the dishes last night. I already knew Mychael had plumbing. Shaking my head, I finished freshening up and headed to the kitchen. Mychael looked up as I entered, a steaming kettle in his hand with 2 empty mugs in the corner, on the counter. It might have been the lighting, but he was taller than I remembered. Glancing to the table, I could see he already finished plating up our food. Oh wow, you work fast. Mychael looked proud of himself. Can't have my guests stay on an empty stomach. Go on, have a seat. I'll join you in a moment. I returned his smile and sat down, stomach grumbling, as I looked at our plates. Once again, Mychael was generous with the serving sizes. My stomach is about to growl right now looking at this food. Fat slices of bread were toasted perfectly with crisp, buttered sides, bright red tomato slices, and crisp salad peeking underneath the fluffy eggs. It looked amazingly tantalizing, the smell of savory herbs wafting into my nose. My mouth watered. Mychael set down a steaming mug beside me before settling into his own seat. Peeking above the rim, I could see small flowers floating about, tinting the water yellow. It faintly smelled of apples. I recognized the yellow dried pellets on tea packaging I've seen before. Oh, chamomile. He nodded. I hope you like it. I'm sure I will. His smile widened, his tail swaying at the tip by his feet. He seemed more relaxed, showing his natural features this morning. Any trace of panic and hesitation from last night were gone, replaced by a look of contentment. Mychael bit into his toast and I followed suit. The food was as delicious as I expected. The chunk of toast I bit into was heavenly, the butter sweet on my tongue. The tomato and salad provided a nice, crisp balance. Wow, that sounds good. And the eggs! Something about simple home-cooked food is just the best. Mychael was happy to eat in silence, occasionally looking up at me as I enjoyed my food. He'd smile when our eyes met, his bottom pair narrowing into a happy squint. I wonder if he'd be open to some questions. Hey, do you mind if I ask? Okay, what should we ask? How do you have plumbing in your house? That's so boring. I'm gonna say, what's it like living in the woods? I still can't believe how cozy you've managed to make it, considering the whole middle of nowhere thing. It wasn't like this when I found it. No? It was a major, fixer-upper. So the cabin was abandoned. I never would have guessed. Yeah, I'm really happy I get to live somewhere permanent for once. It's not much, but it's home. What's it like? Peaceful, quiet. I do like it a lot. The forest provides me with everything I need. And nobody bothers me for the way I look out here. His ears twitched slightly. Sometimes you just happen to end up where it's most convenient for you and everyone else. The way he avoided my eyes as he said that gave me the impression there's something more to it. Like his home wasn't just out of convenience, but a fear of something else. Rejection, perhaps? Or something worse. Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say about it, unless there's something specific you want to ask. He doesn't think much about his answer before beaming at me. What about you? I know you've told me a little bit about yourself, but what's it like being you? I scoffed, waving a hand. Please, I'm the least interesting person in this room, trust me. His eyes were shining in earnest as he leaned forward. Tell me anyway. Well, I told him about my life, at least the parts I was comfortable with sharing. Just like last night, his eyes didn't leave my face, occasionally darting about my features and interest. The direct ogling was making me nervous, but I suppose I was doing the exact same thing when it was his turn to talk. Eventually, I came to the topic of my job and the woes of living in modern capitalism. I am a bit jealous. You have the whole cottagecore aesthetic practically perfect. His face morphed into a confused pout. Cottagecore? I explained it to him in my own words. Oh, you're saying you want to live the way I do, out in the woods. I nodded without hesitation. I mean, I wouldn't mind showing you the ropes. His tone seemed strangely lilted. What do you mean? Never mind. Anyways, I don't get what the appeal is, but it's not easy either, you know. The forest provides, but it's up to me to make use of it. Starting out was... A dark look crossed over his face then, as if reliving a bitter memory. Rough. Okay, but I'm built for survival. Sure. I feel like asking him to elaborate would make things awkward. I decided to veer the topic into a different direction. Doesn't it get lonely? Sometimes, but I'm used to it. He smiled, his eyes lighting up. That is sad! Besides, I have you at the moment, don't I? Never thought I'd enjoy having someone around. You must be really special. Oh, now I can ask the other questions. Okay, how did you learn to cook? Cottage pie is a pretty complicated recipe. I just wonder if anyone taught you how to cook. I'd be lucky if someone could teach me how to make boiled eggs, Firefly. But it was trial and error, mostly. My earlier endeavors were, pretty much inedible. I picked up a thing or two about cooking, though, so your taste buds aren't gonna fall victim to any nasty creations, like in my early days, at least. Speaking of, did you enjoy dinner last night? Of course I did. You're a really good cook, Mychael. I'm glad. It probably wasn't obvious, but I'm really happy I got to cook for you. I don't get guests as often, in case you couldn't tell. I should ask you to cook for me every day, then. He grinned at my joke, looking pleased. I'd be happy to. He's serious. I chuckled as I took another bite. So what's your favorite thing to cook? He lit up at the question. Fried mushrooms. Fried mushrooms? I love me some mushrooms. Yeah, there's plenty to find and it's easy to make. Huh, I do remember finding a patch of mushrooms yesterday. They smelled pretty funky, though. You remember that? Was I not supposed to remember that? What was that? Nothing. Anyways, mushrooms were the only thing I had for a while before figuring out I could eat other stuff like roots and veggies. Do you forage all your ingredients? Mostly. The times I figured out how to catch fish and hunt game were the best of my life, I'll tell you that. My first taste of meat, he did an awkward version of a chef's kiss, as if mimicking something he saw on TV once. Mamma mia. Was he trying to say Mamma Mia? He continued before I could even dwell on it a second longer. But nothing beats what you humans are able to make. You guys go nuts with ingredients. Yeah, all the GMOs and chemicals. Am I right, guys? The red dye and steroids. Yeah, nothing beats us humans. Rice was a challenge. It's a precious ingredient since I have to actually get some from a store. But once I figured out how to make it nice and fluffy, I consider it a special treat. Oh, so he does go to the store. I did a double take. You go to the store? Literally, I just had the same reaction. Yeah? Where else would I get it? I thought you would grow it yourself or something? He laughed as I flushed in embarrassment. It's flattering you think I'm even capable of something that impressive, but no. There's only so much the forest can provide. But what about money? We're talking about human currency, right? Otherwise, how would you even... Do you actually have a job? A thought occurred to me. Or did you steal it? He almost looked offended. Do you take me for a criminal? No, but that would mean then how? Mychael bit into his toast, his two eyes winking in mischief. I have my ways, Firefly. What's that supposed to mean? You're not gonna tell me? How do you have plumbing in your house? I know it's a silly question, but I can't stop thinking about it. Oh, you were wondering about that? The embarrassed look on my face was probably enough of an answer. Well, it's nothing fascinating. It's just rainwater I've got stored above the cabin. Just rainwater? He nodded. I detected a hint of pride as he continued. It's actually a recent installment, believe it or not. Granted, the project took a while. Gathering materials, figuring out the tools, finding the right instruction manuals. Plus, I had to figure out where to store the water tank. And don't worry, I installed a filtration system, so it's safe for us to use. I check in every few weeks to make sure nothing's contaminated. That sounded daunting. Especially considering he lived all the way out here in the woods. You did all that on your own? I kinda had to. Anyway, it took a whole lot of calibrating and adjusting, but it really worked out. And now that I think about it, I'm glad you get to be comfortable here during your stay too. Does that answer your question? Where'd you learn to do all that? I had to figure out a lot of things on my own. There was a faint hint of exhaustion in his eyes. But to answer your question, I go to libraries a lot. So he does go out in public. It's where I learned about a majority of things. The fact that he even ventured into buildings at all already surprised me. And if I'm really lucky, they have all these neat DIYs and workshop manuals archived for anyone to browse through. It took a while to figure out everything. A really long time, actually, but hey, I had nothing but time. And it paid off. I'm considering upgrading the toilet next, but for now, the composting system works fine. Learned about that in an old camping guide. He paused to take a breath, as if he hadn't talked this much in a while. I'm rambling, but that's how I did it. Is there anything else you want to ask? What, you've been to libraries? His ears perked up, posture straightening. Oh yeah, I can't tell you enough how much books have helped me. I made it this far only because I quickly figured out how to read. Well, I figured out that I can read. Do you visit often? Wait, who taught him how to read? In my early days, any chance I could get. Nowadays, I stick to my side of the forest, though. Gotta make sure people don't wander too far off than they're meant to. I paused in my chewing at the teasing lilt in his voice. Hey! I'm joking. Anyways, if you're wondering what I do about this, he gestured towards his face, I just have to make sure everything's covered. You'd be surprised how little people pay attention to me when I bundle up just right. Do people not give you trouble? He shrugged nonchalantly. Small town libraries are usually so empty from my experience. And people just mind their own business there. I guess that's true. And some people might actually think it's cosplay. I can't remember the last time I visited a library. I guess libraries would be Mychael's equivalent to the World Wide Web. I should introduce him to the internet sometimes. Sometime, I mean. Actually, maybe not. Not without parental controls. Finally satisfied, I nodded and went back to eating my food. Why would he need parental controls? He's a grown man. I'm starting to know a lot more about Mychael. He didn't directly say it, but it felt like he was lonelier than he was letting on. Not to mention how he managed to make a home for himself all on his own. I had to wonder if he had anyone at all. Do you have any family around? Family? His expression turned solemn for a moment before he looked sheepish. Remind me how that works again? I get the concept based on some books I've read. I don't have what you call parents, if that's what you're asking. My mouth had dropped open in shock. No parents? He shrugged and took another bite of toast. Not that I recall. Then how did you, what's that like? Living with so many people like you in such close proximity, huh? That's how it works, right? You and other humans living in one house? And you have this, Dena thing that makes you relate to the rest? What? What? That's what makes a family, right? Was he talking about DNA? Oh! His definition threw me off, but I had to answer somehow. Not just that. Family is... Okay, let's see. People you're related to, like your mom and your dad and your siblings and relatives. People that you love and care about, who love and care about you too. Actually, I guess they are just people you live in close proximity to, whether by choice or not. I would say it's people you're related to. He nodded at my explanation. I couldn't help thinking that he looked somewhat relieved. If that's the case, I definitely don't have family around. As far as relations go, I'm the only one of me there is and ever will be. What are you, a science experiment? He sounded determined about that fact. So you're not, I assume you're not a family person then. He looked amused at my question. Definitely not. I found that surprising. He seemed like the type, but I guess I couldn't just assume that. Although, he He twiddled with his mug, his brows furrowed as he stared at it. It does sound nice, knowing that you have that undeniable bond with someone. Something to link you with others just underneath the surface. That kind of relationship that makes it unique and precious, wouldn't it? He looked at me then, his eyes almost full of longing. Aw, but some things just aren't meant for me. What do you mean? He smiled, shrugging. Nothing you have to worry about, Firefly. What a strange man. To be fair, everyone's definition of family could be different. What about you? What's your definition of family? Mychael looked surprised as I asked him that question. I don't know. I never had one, and I think your answer just confused me more. Well, if you ever figure it out, let me know. Mychael stared at the remaining crumbs on his plate before he nodded, avoiding my gaze. Are we gonna leave now? Sure. We both fell quiet, the lull in conversation blanketing us in a comfortable silence. All this family talk, it reminded me of the reason why I'm out here in the first place. To look for my beloved cat, a sight I might never be able to see again. I couldn't help the sinking feeling in my chest, the growing pit in my stomach. I wish I was able to find Toad. You would have loved him. Mychael opened his mouth to say something but changed his mind. Toad is dead! My voice warbled as a lump formed in my throat. Sorry, I just miss him so much. I keep thinking if I just went looking for him sooner, maybe I would have been able to find him by now. He was quick to speak up. You did your best, Firefly. No one else could have gone to the lengths that you did. You almost risked getting yourself... I'm sure wherever he is, he's doing okay. You really think so? I know so. You liar! His voice was laced with a confident assurance despite the worried look on his face. I nodded with a quiet sniff. I hope so. He's just important to me is all. Mychael looked like he wanted to reach across the table for me, but sighed instead. Actually, I'm sorry, Sunshine. I should tell you. Maybe I do have family, now that I think about it. I thought he was gonna say what happened to Toad. That was the surprise I mentioned before. What? Wait, really? He nodded? Are you done? I could take you to go meet them right now. I looked down at my plate. During the conversation, I didn't even realize I'd finished the meal. Yeah, I'm done. His movements were quick, stacking our empty plates and mugs and setting them in the sink. He grasped my hand before I could say another word, pulling me up and heading outside with me in tow. As the door swung open, I could only see a forest ahead before he tugged me along as he rounded the side of the cabin. As the door swung open, I could only see the forest ahead before he tugged me along as he rounded the side of the cabin. Almost immediately, my peripherals were assaulted with green on both sides. Oh, garden! I figured he was the type to grow his own vegetables, but to see it in person as confirmation was a whole different thing. With Mychael leading the way, I only had a moment to take in the surrounding garden. He had marked the different plots with messy drawings on small wooden signs jutting out of the dirt. Carrots, lettuce, potatoes, trellises of tomatoes and beans. I wouldn't have been able to differentiate one plant to another without the signs. Even the chamomile from our tea just now grew abundant close by, the small buds swaying gently. I bumped into Mychael as he suddenly stopped, the man looking over his shoulder to beam at me. We reached what looked like a fenced-off area with a bit of netting stretching all around. He stepped aside, watching me as my eyes widened. The chickens are his family? Or does he eat the chickens? 3 fat, happy little hens strutted about like they owned the place. As he entered through the gate, the hens swarmed over in an instant at Mychael's feet, circling him and pecking at his boots. Ladies, meet Sunshine. Sunshine, these are Marmor, Sansuyu, and Primrose. Or as I like to call them, Marmor, Sunny, and Rosie. Bro, the way I almost named my character Sunny, literally. He ducked to pick one up, fluffing up her feathers as he smiled. He gently scratched the hen's little head, which I assumed was Rosie. She practically melted at his pampering, eyes sliding shut. The other two flapped their wings in a huff and went about their business once more. Mychael leaned closer, beckoning me to pet Rosie. She was so soft. Rosie's the oldest. She doesn't lay eggs anymore, but I couldn't bring myself to, you know. So I brought her some friends. Marmor came first. Sunny's a more recent addition. What do you think? Do we make a good family? I laughed and nodded, watching as Rosie nuzzled into Mychael's chest. Oh, that's actually kind of sweet. I didn't expect chickens of all things. Were you expecting something else? I was expecting it to be someone else. Oh, No. When you look like me, people generally don't stick around. There's that negative self-talk again. You don't even look that bad. His eyes flicked to meet mine, a look of pleasant surprise crossing his face. You really think so? Yeah. You can't be that naive, Firefly. I mean it! He let out a polite scoff as he scratched Rosie's head absently. You genuinely believe people wouldn't run away at the sight of me? Well, I didn't. His smile turned smug, the corner of his lips lifting just a bit. Of course you didn't. Because you couldn't. Because you manipulated me! Shoot, he wasn't wrong. I was pretty much paralyzed in his bed when we first met, but also he manipulated me. But I still don't think you look that bad. Is that so? Describe me then. What? You heard me? Look at me and describe what you see. For a second I thought he was being condescending, but looking at his eyes, all I could see was a bit of playfulness. He looked at me expectantly, eyes shining. You're tall. Go on. You have blonde hair. He gave an amused squint, his left ear twitching. What else? You have green skin and a tail. He chuckled, though there was no malice in it. But that's not all, is it? He definitely expected me to say it straight. Oh, fine. So you don't look human. So what? He hummed absently. As I was saying, animals generally don't care if you look like a monster. My heart twisted at his words. His passive nonchalance somehow makes it even worse. Mychael, you're not a tug at my shoelace caught my attention. A light brown hen stood at my feet, her beady eyes shining. Sunny flapped her wings almost expectantly. Oh, I think she likes you. Go ahead, pick her up gently, like how I did with Rosie. I hesitated, but slowly lowered myself to cup Sunny by her wings. Lifting her up, she was quick to nestle herself until she was comfortably tucked under my arms. I could feel her wings wiggling as she nuzzled into my side. Aw, having a chicken as a pet actually kind of seems cute. So cute. Mychael's gaze softened as I cooed at the chicken, mimicking her small clucks. So, did it help? Cheering you up, I mean. Oh, so that's what this was. A fuzzy feeling bloomed in my chest as he looked at me, chicken in his arms and concern on his face. A little bit, yeah. Only a little? I snickered, rolling my eyes. Okay, mister, a lot. That's more like it. His proud grin was infectious. I couldn't help smiling back. We spent a bit more time with the hens, petting them until they were satisfied. Mychael even showed me the spot where they like to have their dust baths, little chicken-shaped holes scattered about in dry soil underneath the coop. Once the gals had enough of us, we refilled their water container before leaving. He left them some treats, procuring them straight out of his pockets before shutting the gate. The girls' excited chatter over the food faded as we made our way back inside his cabin. So wait, are we not leaving then? I sat by his bed as he crouched down by the fireplace. From the window, I could see the sun outside was getting higher. It might be close to afternoon now. Hey, Mychael? He looked up at me from where he was stoking the fire. I rubbed my arms, unsure where to place my gaze. I think it's a good time for me to go now. I didn't. My expression fell, but I caught myself quickly. He'd done his best to cheer me up. It would be inconsiderate towards him to leave in a bad mood. I might have to accept that I'll never see Toad again. I think it's better if I focus on moving on. He was quiet for a moment, hands in his pockets. If you say so. But you don't have to leave just yet. We've still got plenty of daylight left, and there's some places I want to show you. Won't you come with me? I had to decide. Whoa, whoa, whoa! He didn't let me make a choice! He didn't let me make a choice, bro! I promise, I'll take you home right after. He took another step towards me. Please, Firefly? I didn't want to say it, but he looked desperate. Okay. Bro, I had no choice. I'll go with you. The joy on his face was shining bright as a billboard. Great. Let me get our stuff. He disappeared into the kitchen, returning with my backpack in one hand and a satchel in the other. He passed it to me as he walked by towards the front door. I almost forgot I had this. Rifling through my bag, I found cat treats, Toad's collar, a broken compass, and my phone! The battery was dead, though. Still, that's one less thing to worry about. I checked in my bag once more, finding an empty water bottle. I frowned, distinctly remembering I forgot to pack water for my trip. Or at least, Mychael told me I did. Oh, the lies are coming out. The lies are coming out. Didn't I? You ready? I looked up at Mychael, startling when I spotted the large crossbow in his hands. He followed my gaze and shrugged, albeit with a nervous smile, like he'd been caught doing something he shouldn't be. He quickly strapped the weapon to his back and out of sight. Don't worry, I'm not gonna use it unless necessary. I would hope not. He chuckled at my indignant tone. You think I'm gonna let you out into the woods without guaranteeing your safety? I made a promise to get you home, so this is just an extra precaution. You don't think it's a bit much? Better safe than sorry, Firefly. He did have a point. If anyone knew these woods and the kind of danger it held, it'd be Mychael. I glanced over him again, noticing he changed his oversized cardigan for something more outdoor appropriate. His eyes tracked mine, his shoulders stiffening as a tint spread across his face. So, shall we? He opened the door and waved me out. I stepped outside to glance around his front yard. The landscape wasn't anything special. It was actually left quite plain, just thick with trees and foliage. Only paths of dirt and flattened grass clued me in the routes Mychael would use as he comes and goes, webbing in all directions trailing to the front door. Kind of think of it, anyone passing through would be able to spot Mychael's house if they squinted through the trees carefully enough. I guess he was right that nobody walked through this area in years. I heard a lock turn before Mychael joined me by my side. I mean, is there any point in locking it if nobody really comes around here? He smiled wide before tipping his head in a direction, making sure I was behind him before he started walking. I was hesitant but followed suit. It was quiet as we traveled, save for the sounds of nature calling out around us. The weather was bright and warm, the sun casting pretty rays through the gaps in the trees. I had to admit, enjoyable as it was, the birds and rustling of leaves as we walked somewhat brought bad memories. Yesterday was miserable. I was lost, tired, and hungry. There was a chance I wasn't going to make it out alive. I watched Mychael's back as he led the way, the man barely paying any mind to his surroundings. His ear would occasionally flick back in my direction, but overall, he seemed confident on where to go. Having Mychael as my guide home was definitely a great assurance. It made me even more grateful he'd found me when he did. Ah, I sighed and shook off the negative feelings, keeping pace while appreciating the fresh air. I stepped up next to my companion, willing my voice to speak after plenty of silence. This is actually kind of nice. A good old nature walk. Yep. I coughed into my fist, feeling embarrassed. I don't go outside as often as I should. Mychael smiled kindly. I'm glad I get to bring you then. Yeah, feels different when you know where you're going. Actually, where are we going? He sensed my nervousness and laughed. Don't worry. We're almost there. I looked up and saw it before he even pointed it out. A clearing in the distance, the trees growing strangely sparse in that area. I held my breath as I noticed the grass slowly started to dot with flowers, delicate blooms swaying here and there in the breeze. As we got closer, Mychael watched me as my mouth dropped open, a knowing twinkle in his eyes. It was breathtaking. A secluded little meadow of flowers, lit up by beams of light, making the scenery resemble a page from a forgotten fairy tale. Butterflies flitted about in pairs, their wings flickering and complementing the surreal yet enchanting ambiance of the whole place. Mychael let me gawk some more before walking ahead, turning to face me before sitting down to relax on the grass. He slipped off his satchel and laid it on the grass by his side along with his crossbow. I blinked out of my stupor and approached him, spinning around to drink everything in before plopping myself down next to him. So what do you think? Pretty, isn't it? I nodded dumbly before finally glancing to face him, the man's gaze on me softening as our eyes met. A butterfly approached us rapidly, making me flinch on instinct. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Butterflies are pretty, but I would still flinch around them. It landed on his finger as he held it out, its wings flapping gently. He smiled at the dainty creature, a fond look in his eyes before he held it out towards me. Do you like butterflies, Sunshine? I'm scared of them. Mychael's eyes widened, a look of guilt flashing across his face. He slowly lowered his hand, the butterfly menace still perched on his fingertip. Oh, no. This place has to be your worst nightmare. I'm sorry. We can leave right now if you want to. I inhaled a breath before shaking my head. I still want to be here. It's okay, Mychael. I eyed the insect crawling on his finger, wings gently flapping. I leaned over to Mychael slowly. Promise you'll keep them off me, though? Yeah, that's exactly how I would be. Mychael looked at me with a playful grin. I won't let a single wingtip even brush you, Firefly. He sounded so determined I had to snort with laughter, forgetting my fears in an instant. The sun was at its peak now, the air getting warmer as minutes passed. The leafy canopy over us provided enough cover for us to not overheat. Mychael picked a flower with his other hand and placed it in my palm, his tail looping loosely around us both as my cheeks darkened. He closed his eyes and leaned back further, the butterfly still resting on his hand. My ears caught a soft rumbling before I realized it was coming from his direction. I almost wanted to ask, but I didn't want to ruin the moment. My gaze dropped as I twirled the flower in my hand, holding the stem delicately. The gesture felt platonic, but also romantic. I wonder if Mychael was even interested in relationships. He'd been alone most of his life. He'd probably get tired of my presence sooner or later. Before I could contemplate further, the butterfly on Mychael's finger took off, my gaze trailing after it as it left the sunlight and flew away into the woods. Which reminds me, Mychael? Don't get me wrong. This place is stunning. But is it okay if we go now? He straightened from his relaxed slouch. Why? We just got here. I chewed on my lip, hesitating. I love it here, I do. But I want to go home, Mychael. Mychael studied my face. Sunshine? Do you want to leave me that badly? I just want to get back to my life. You know, I probably got a job. I got friends. Like I said, I got family. But no, I need time to recover from losing Toad. I know it's silly and dramatic, but knowing he won't be there when I get home, I trailed off, another shot of guilt and regret filling my chest. I just need to get it done with. I feel a hand rubbing my back. Mychael nodded slowly, looking me in the eyes. His smile was gentle. That's okay. I understand. But maybe this place can help with that. Bro, stop manipulating me! It's a nice spot to nap in, isn't it? I picked it out just for you. Why don't you go ahead and lie down? His words made you sway, and a sudden bout of sleepiness weighing heavy over your eyelids. He was right. It is a nice spot to nap in. Why were you in such a hurry? You yawned, laying back to stretch on the grass. The warmth from the ground seeped through your clothes, lulling you into a sense of comfort and safety. There you go. Just spend some time with me. This is his words! Just a bit more, please. Oh, here's something I could show you. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a wooden box. It's called a kalimba. I blinked slowly, clarity coming back as I shook my head to pay attention. The box fit neatly in his hands, Mychael holding it as if he were typing on a phone. I could see it had a hole in the middle with thin strips of metal arranged in a triangular shape over it. What does it do? A proud smirk spread across his face. I'll show you. He began to pluck at the metal prongs, a gentle ringing sound resonating with every flick of his thumbs. Okay, that's different. I couldn't recognize the song. He might have made it up himself. I doubt he listens to modern music. He ain't gonna play no Meg Thee Stallion. I closed my eyes and joined the tune. Mychael gave a soft chuckle as he kept playing. Relax and listen as long as you'd like, Firefly. A few minutes passed, with Mychael plucking away at the instrument, the two of us sunbathing like two cats on a Sunday afternoon. I must have dozed, as the next thing I knew, I felt a nudge on my shoulder. Comfy? He chuckled low when I refused to open my eyes. I mean, if you'd rather stay. My eyes shot open, my whole body jerking to sit up. Mychael glanced at me, kalimba in his lap and a half of a forget-me-not chain in his hand. What? I shook my head, slapping at my cheeks. I can't believe I fell asleep. I still need to... It's all right. He cut me off. His sigh was heavy. I was hoping... Never mind. I have a strong will, I ain't gonna lie. He patted my shoulder, though his smile didn't reach his eyes. Thanks for being here with me. Maybe we can do this again sometime. If I ever see you again. Let's get you home. He rolled over to his feet and stood up, brushing off dirt and fixing his satchel. Come on. We gathered our things and set off into the unknown once more. Well, unknown to me at least. Mychael seemed to have a map of this place ingrained in his brain. You seem a bit sleepy still, so let's freshen up, okay? We walked a bit further away from the clearing, coming across a river. Compared to the rest of the path we walked, the area was shaded considerably with a thick canopy of leaves over us. The flowing water looked inviting as I kneeled down by the bank, Mychael idling close by. I dipped my hands in, eager to wash my face. The water was refreshing and cooled my heated skin in the afternoon sun. I pulled my hands back to see Mychael peeking over my shoulder into my reflection, smiling with a faraway look in his face. He startled as our gazes met, irises darting away to look at himself instead. Immediately his expression changed. His ears flattened, a grimace twisting his features as his lips curled back. Aw, he hates himself. I'd never seen such contempt in his eyes as I did then, staring at his own visage. He stepped away, retreating underneath the cover of a tree to lean against it with crossed arms. He doesn't notice me watching. I patted my hands dry on my shirt and approached him. You ready? Yeah. I stopped him before he could turn to leave. He looked at me with a questioning look, tipping his head. I hesitated. I wasn't the type to speak my mind directly. Most of the time I keep things to myself and let things go by. But nobody should look at themselves and have that sort of reaction. Hey, you know you're not, I might as well be frank. You're not a monster, Mychael. He looked taken aback. What makes you say that? I saw you were looking at yourself. How you talk about yourself. None of it is true. I keep telling you you're more than just your appearance. I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I did it anyway. I reached for his hands and held them between us. Bro, you're gonna make him want to manipulate you more into staying. His eyes widened at the contact. All it took was a day with you, and truthfully, I think you're the most amazing person I've ever met. He made a choked noise. I'm just some old nobody compared to you. That's not... Shut up and listen. He promptly shut his mouth with an audible click of his teeth. From where I stand, you saved my life. You've taken care of me better than I could ever have asked for from a stranger. That already proves to me you're not the monster you think you are. You're charming, you're smart, you're sweet. You're a million more wonderful things, but you are not a monster. I take a second to compose myself, lowering my voice. You may look different, Mychael, but guess what? His multiple eyes stared into mine, ears flattening as if fearing the worst. That makes you all the more beautiful to me. This is actually kind of sweet. Guys. His breath hitched. I could feel his hand squeezing mine, fingers trembling. It was like he forgot how to breathe. I realized my hands were getting sweaty. I pulled away hastily, scratching at my neck and avoiding his gaze. I could feel the blood rush to my face. I could dunk my whole head in the river and it'd probably let off steam. So sorry that came out of nowhere. It just didn't feel right if I didn't say anything. I hope you understand. An awkward silence passed between the two of us. Anyways, I caught him mumbling under his breath. I can't let you leave. No! See, I told you he was gonna make you stay! Ah! What? I said you can't leave. I mean, not without your cat, right? I frowned. I've already tried, Mychael. Like you said, it was stupid for me to just wander off in the woods as if I'd find him through dumb luck. He paused, his fists clenching. But I haven't. Huh? I haven't tried. I know these woods better than anyone. I can try looking for him. He's lying. He knows the cat's dead. But that means you can't leave yet. Oh, so I can't leave until you find the cat that's dead. Mychael, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think I should stick around any longer. I have a job and responsibilities and you hissed in pain. A sudden migraine overcoming your senses. You felt sick, your stomach wringing itself into knots. It felt like the world was warping around you as your legs wobbled. Your body buckled over as you resisted the urge to vomit. Ah! Yo. Mychael caught you as you slumped gracefully to the ground, your head resting on his shoulder as he cradled you close. Hey, you don't look so good. Your vision doubled as he spoke, his speech oozing together, words into an indecipherable mess. Are you okay? You need me to carry you home? I can't even say anything. All I can say is yes, please. Okay, no problem. Just hang in there. Hang on to me. Bruh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. If I could just one more day with you, I'd be the happiest man alive. Ah! Okay. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just like he'd be the happiest man alive just for me? You know, little me? Here we are. Let's get you tucked in. I should give you some clothes, especially since you'll be staying another night. You're okay with that, aren't you? I blinked, groggily awake to the gentle sounds of a crackling fire, the itchy texture of warm bed sheets, the weight of a heavy knit blanket. I could recall once or twice having felt these very sensations to the point I'd consider them familiar and comforting, and yet... Oh! That scared me. Nothing could prepare me for the bright yellow eyes peering into mine. What is that sound? Is that his heartbeat? Why does it sound so weird? Ah, did I push him? I'm sorry. My knuckles hit him square in the face. Oh, I hit him. My knuckles hit him square in the face as Mychael yelped, nose scrunching as the taller man stumbled backwards into a stool. Was bro really just crouched up in front of my face, up close and personal? He landed on his rear with the grace of a clumsy toddler on the floor. I sat up in a panic and immediately grimaced, landing back on the bed with an unceremonious flop. It hit me in one fell swoop how my whole body was aching. Every single one of my limbs felt like they'd gone through a ringer and came out the other side all wrinkled and wrong. I groaned aloud, leaning my head back on the pillow. Mychael shifted back into his feet, rubbing his nose. Sunshine. His voice was an awkward croak before he cleared his throat. I'm glad you're awake. How are you feeling? Terrible. He visibly flinched. I'm sorry to hear that. He stepped closer to the bed, leaning over warily in case my hand dramatically whips out again in self-defense. With my hand settled on my lap, he deemed it safe enough to sit beside me. What happened, Mychael? You don't remember? I shook my head, wincing a bit as my head pounded. Not at all. Mychael hesitated. You tripped and hit your head. I had to carry you home? His words almost slurred together as he fidgeted. My head? I slowly lifted my hand to feel for bumps or bruises, but he hastily snatched my wrist. Don't worry about that. Here, have this. It'll help. Mychael gave me a familiar-looking drink as he quickly pressed a cup into my hands. I don't trust this. Sitting up with some effort to take a sip, I couldn't help the small sense of deja vu. The amount of times I woke up in his bed dazed and disoriented is almost uncomfortable now. At least the drink was helping, just like he promised. My body felt lighter as I finished. Mychael took the cup from me and set it aside before wringing his hands together with a nervousness I haven't seen in a while. So, I'm sorry this happened. I didn't mean for you to get hurt. I sighed and waved aside his worry with an embarrassed grumble. Wouldn't be the first time I tripped if you could believe it. It's not your fault. He gave a soft chuckle, but it sounded guilty. I suppose you're right, it's just... His face looked like he had a million thoughts running through his head. I promised, didn't I? I said I was gonna look out for you. I said I was gonna keep you safe. Instead, I made you hurt. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry, Sunshine. The sudden change in demeanor was startling, to say the least. You couldn't have predicted it was gonna happen. And I'm fine, see? Oh, Firefly. I guess you're right. His expression carried a lingering doubt, but he quickly masked it with a small smile, his eyes dim. In that case, you'll be staying? The way he said it almost sounded like a decision that's already been made. Or a plea. What do you mean? His eyes darted aside. You agreed to let me find Toad, remember? Did I say that? Yeah. So, you'll be staying a while longer, right? He didn't even let me get a word in. In fact, a feeling of uncertainty washed over me, as if we had this conversation before. I don't think we should... Besides, what's the rush? It's already late and you're in no condition to travel anyway. I blinked before glancing out the window. Pitch black darkness greeted me as I realized he was right. Yet another uncanny feeling spread across my chest, shivers crawling down my spine. Oh, why do I feel uncomfortable? I don't know why, but something about this whole situation felt wrong. I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Mychael had a nervous look on his face. Maybe you hit your head harder than you thought? His words didn't sound confident. Bro, if you're gonna lie, be a better liar. How long was I out? A couple hours, I think. You really took a hit. I don't believe him. It was that bad? My brows creased as I tried to recall today's events. I don't remember tripping. There was a river. I remember you. And then... Your memory must be fuzzy, and for good reason. After all, it's been a rough few days. My stomach rumbled suddenly, echoing in the quiet room. Dang it, my stomach! I was about to remember everything! My freaking stomach, bro! There was a heavy silence right after. Mychael was polite enough to hide his chuckle under a palm as I flushed. He seemed relieved. Well, lucky for you, I've got dinner on the way. It should be ready soon. You're okay with soup, right? Soup sounds all right. My stomach growled once more, the pain of an empty gut making me wince a bit. My host noticed immediately. Oh, maybe we should get you some food sooner than later. You feel okay enough to get up? I nodded with a grumble, swinging my legs over the side of the bed before noticing something was on my lap. Hey, what's this? I unbundled the pile of thick fabric, realizing it was an oversized sweater with a pair of baggy sweatpants. A mushroom pattern? It's oddly cute. The material felt worn but comfortable. A towel laid right next to them. Is this for me? Oh, I figured since you'll be staying another night, you'd want some fresh clothes. It might be a few sizes bigger. Or a lot. So sorry. He'd gotten shy for some reason. On the other hand, I didn't have to take a whiff at myself to know that I probably reek. I nodded again, giving him a small but grateful smile. You're fine, Mychael. Thank you. Yet another thing I had to owe him. I couldn't help feeling like I'm taking advantage of his kindness now. So, you know where the bathroom is. Take your time cleaning up. I'll be in the kitchen if you need anything. I'm really happy you're here. He stood there for a good few seconds, fidgeting with his hands as if he wanted to say more before finally heading to the kitchen. I watched his back retreat before hoisting myself up and heading to the bathroom. Now that I was alone, I had a moment to gather my thoughts. The nagging feeling was back, a prickling feeling across my skin, raising goosebumps as if telling me I shouldn't be here. I just couldn't place my finger on what. I'm gonna say I should be careful, I ain't gonna lie. I just couldn't shake the feeling that Mychael was hiding something. Yeah, duh. He'd been a gracious host so far, but that didn't make him the most trustworthy either. There's definitely something I'm missing. My mind was wandering even as I undressed and stepped under the shower. The icy chill of the water did nothing to distract me from my nerves. If anything, it elevated it. I was a shivering mess by the time I was done cleaning myself with whatever soap he had lying around. Once I dried myself, I inspected his clothes inside and out to see if there's anything off with them. They smelled like wet grass and burnt wood. Considering his lifestyle, it made sense for his clothes to have that sort of scent stuck to them, I suppose. Putting them on, it just reminded me how big and tall Mychael was, compared to me at least. I fidgeted and fiddled with the sleeves and waistband until I could somewhat move comfortably. There's no mirror in his bathroom, so I had to assume I looked like a walking potato sack. Better than nothing. Gathering my courage, I shook out my hands and straightened myself before exiting towards the kitchen. A savory scent filled my nose. Mychael did mention dinner was almost done. As I entered, I saw Mychael by the stove, idly stirring something crimson in a pot and humming quietly to himself. His content smile widened as he saw me, his ears flicking. I tried not to look uneasy as he looked me up and down. Hey! How did they fit? They're all right. Much too big for me. He nodded, turning back to the pot. I can see that. Right. His smile faltered as he picked up on the wariness in my tone. Is everything all right? His eyes held a sense of worry, his shoulders tensing. I can get you something else to wear if you'd like. There's no need. He paused, hand gripping onto the ladle tightly as he continued to hesitate. Sunshine? There's another pause before his brows furrowed. I'm not an idiot. You don't trust me, do you? Oh, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I flinched. Mychael looked hurt as he sighed. So I'm right. His ears flicked by the sides of his head as he turned back towards the stove. Can I just know why? His eyes were sad as he stared at the pot, as if he'd been in this situation before. Bruh, it's honestly has nothing to do with your appearance. It's just your behavior. I thought I did everything right. Truthfully, I didn't expect such a direct confrontation. There's a lump in my throat as my fist clenched at my sides. It's just... The kettle started whistling, but he was clearly ignoring it. I swallowed down my growing anxiety and decided to be upfront. I just didn't expect to be here again. It felt like the wrong thing to say when Mychael's frown deepened. So you never wanted to be here. I didn't mean it like that. I just have a life. And how else could you possibly mean it? Oh my, he looks so annoyed. Another deep sigh slipped out of him as he reached to lift the kettle off the stove, mumbling to himself. I was hoping you'd be different. What was I thinking? What did you say? Nothing. Mychael, His forlorn expression made my words feel thick on my tongue, forcing me to reluctantly swallow them back down. Any trace of suspicion I had faded and was replaced by a feeling of guilt. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd be home by now. I know. I'm sorry too. He lifted his gaze towards me, eyes full of regret. Wait, what? What? What did you just do? But is it really so bad, Sunshine? I know being lost in the woods with a man you don't know can be scary, but I promise you're safe. The last thing I'd ever want you to be is scared. He trailed off, so just trust me, okay? Can you do that, please? I swallowed and gave him a nod. What was that staticky thing? My gut still roiled with suspicion, every fiber of my being wary of him to a certain extent. He seemed satisfied, though, eager to move on past the tension. Thank you. His mouth quivered at the edges, all four of his eyes squinting with the slightest bit of hope. Please let it be different for once. How many people have come through the woods? Why don't you take a seat, Firefly? I'll be right with you. He was already turning his back towards me to start preparing the tea. I slowly approached him. Hey, let me help this time. Mychael startled, surprised to see me beside him. Oh, sure. Could you get some bowls ready? We're having tomato soup. Oh, do you want some grilled cheese with yours, or would you prefer garlic bread? Ooh, grilled cheese, if you please. Let me stop. I'll stop. Got it. I brushed past him, feeling his tail linger by my ankle as I grabbed the bowls and spoons from the bottom shelf. He started preparing the sides, the smell of toasted bread filling the kitchen and mingling with the soups. I took over preparing the tea. Finally, I ladled the soup from the pot into a larger bowl just as Mychael finished flipping the last piece. We settled in for a nice hot dinner. All the food in this looks so good! Regardless of how I felt about tomato soup, Mychael's turned out rich and creamy with an amazing balance of sour and sweet. Dipping in the bite-sized grilled cheese sandwich just made it taste like pure savory comfort, crisp and gooey. Even if I never had it as a kid, it still made me feel nostalgic somehow. There's still a feeling of stilted awkwardness, but the food helped ease us both into a warmer, lighthearted conversation. I didn't realize how hungry I was until I refilled my bowl, Mychael watching me with his chin propped in his hand. His own bowl sat empty. Apparently, he'd already had his fill. Is tomato soup your favorite? His question was innocent, though his eyes were observing me carefully as I shrugged. I think I'd love anything you cook. He stilled, taking a second to process what I said. Oh, well, thank you. No, thank you. I usually get takeout or microwave dinners. Nothing beats home-cooked food. What's a microwave? Bro, all that time in the library and you don't know what a microwave is? I snickered and tried to explain the best I can. A metal box that heats up food. That sounds like, what's the word in those fantasy books? Magic? You know what fantasy books are, but you don't know what microwaves are? Okay. Am I using that word right? I laughed lightly. Sometimes science is just like that. We talked about other kitchen appliances off the top of my head, slowly branching out to other human inventions. He seemed even more interested. I never understood how technology worked. I pulled out my phone and let him fiddle with it. Though with the battery dead, there's not much I could show. He was clearly disappointed. It's about as useful as a brick. For now. Otherwise, I'd have a whole network of information in my hands. His eyes lit up. Like a library? And you can access it at any time as long as the battery is alive? And as long as I have an internet connection. Right. Internet. I didn't know you could do that. I just see people staring at them all the time. It seemed boring. He looked at my phone again, a look of wonder on his face. Having a whole library in your hands. Everyone must be really smart then. Well, not really. Well, not everyone uses it like a library, more like a messaging hub or a source of content consumption. His ear flicked as he stared at me with a blank smile. Consumption? You can eat it? Yeah, he has no clue what I'm talking about. Oh, I explained to him the very concept of Web 2.0. I cleared my throat, deciding that I simply won't. Maybe I could show you what I mean someday. His eyes brightened, seeming to like that idea a lot. Because when you say someday, it gives the impression you're going to be there forever. You mean that? I can have some? Yeah, I think it's about time you start getting a little more modern around here, no offense. Imagine what you could do with a generator. As his smile widened just a tad, though there's still a cluelessness to his face that was just a little endearing. Generator. I laughed and reached across to pat his hand, a gesture that made his smile wobble. Like I said, I'll show you someday. A loud thwack sounded against the floorboards, followed by rhythmic thudding. Leaning over, I could see the tip of his tail wagging back and forth, the tip of it slapping against the floor almost comically, just like a dog. Mychael looked flustered as he laughed softly, pulling his hand back to rub his neck. Sorry. He looked like he had more to say, but exhaled heavily, gathering himself before tilting his chin towards my empty bowl. Are you done? I nodded as he stood and collected our dirty dishes, heading towards the sink to wash them. I followed close behind, carrying the mugs. We made quick work of the dishes, heading back to the living room to relax. Mychael headed to his basket of knitting materials, his movements routine. I wasn't sure what to do with myself. Now that food was no longer a distraction, I felt uneasy again, glancing around the room and staring at the window. Mychael was eyeing me as he grabbed the stool and dragged it to the center of the room. Is there something outside? His question sounded innocent, but it had a sense of wariness to it. I shook my head quickly. Nothing. I was just... Something catches my eye from under the bed, glinting like a knife. What? Tilting my head lower, I could see it was a tin container the size of a shoebox. What's that? Mychael looked up. Under your bed. A panicked look came across his face. What is that? That thing? Just some emergency supplies. Yeah, nothing too special. I had an inkling he was being dishonest again, but I figured I'd leave it for another day. Oh yeah, we about to look in that. I see. Mychael watched me for a moment or two before clearing his throat. Hey, Firefly? I have a meaning to ask. Do you remember what you said at the river? The river? Oh, where I tripped. I pursed my lips and thought. Not really. Everything feels fuzzy to me. He seemed disappointed. Oh, not even a little? I shook my head. Why? Did I say something stupid? So we don't remember saying our little speech to him. Just some things that made me happy. Oh, I think I did say something stupid. Before I could ask about it, he already gestured towards the bed. Oh, you should get some sleep, Firefly. Want to wake up nice and early to find Toad, right? The idea of looking for my cat once more made me wilt. You really think we'll find him? Mychael looked on edge, pocketing his hands. It doesn't hurt to try, but it does hurt to hope. Ooh, that's a deep response. I feel like I'm gonna take that. I feel like I'm gonna steal that. It doesn't hurt to try, but it does hurt to hope. Dang. Ow, I felt that. His face twitched. His ears flattened as he thought of something to say, clearly struggling. He finally opened his mouth to respond, his words slow and careful. I'm here for you. Thank you, Mychael. He nodded, a strange mixture of polite happiness and hidden anxiety playing across his face. He's probably not used to another person sticking around this long, let alone someone going through a loss he could care less about. Maybe I've been enough of a burden to him. Actually, can you just send me home? His brows raised, his posture straightening in surprise. Are you sure? What about Toad? Don't you want to see if we can find him? I'm sure. A look of apprehension crossed his face. But it's so soon. Toad could be out there. We still have to... Mychael, please. I can't think about him right now. I just want to go home. He fidgeted with the sleeves of his cardigan. But He looked like he had so much more to say. But whatever turmoil going on in his head was quickly swept behind a reassuring smile. Okay. Get some sleep, Firefly. You've been through a lot. He went to collect his blankets again, already arranging them into a nest like the night before. The words left my mouth before I could think twice. I can trust you, right? A flicker of surprise crossed Mychael's face. Of course you can trust me. He didn't say anything else, as if that one line should be enough to convince me. Okay. And honestly, it was too late to start an interrogation that's only gonna end up in me feeling guilty for upsetting him. I got under the covers, facing the wall with my back towards him. I could hear him setting up his nest behind me, before finally quieting down with a satisfied hum. I closed my eyes. I'm surprised you're even able to fall asleep after passing out for hours. The last thing I heard was the gentle crackling of the fireplace, accompanied by Mychael's knitting needles clicking away in the dark. Before I knew it, I could hear birds chirping outside the window. The first thing I noticed was the fire must have been out, considering I couldn't hear the familiar pop and snap that came with the room's ambiance. The second I realized was the hand gently shaking my shoulder awake. The second thing I realized was the hand gently shaking my shoulder awake. Wake up, sleepyhead. I stirred, yawning as I sat up in bed. Mychael beamed, hand still on my shoulder. So how is he gonna make me stay today? What is he gonna come up with to make me stay today? There you are. Had a good sleep? I mumbled incoherently. His smile widened into a grin as I blinked myself out of my woozy state. If I didn't know any better, he seemed to enjoy waking me up in the morning just to see my disgruntled expressions. Breakfast is ready? Wash up and meet me in the kitchen, all right? Give me a second. He took that as my assent, humming his response. Suddenly his hand reached up to ruffle my hair, messing up my bed head further. Hey! He merely laughed at my indignant squawk before reminding me once more to get up, his steps already thudding towards the kitchen. Recovering after a moment, I stared at the wall and pondered my situation for a second as I made my way to the bathroom. This was the third day since I left my house. I'm missing work, missing my cat, and missing my sense of direction. I gotta get back to my life. Today, quietly reminding myself of my goal, I padded to the bathroom, freshened up, and joined him in the kitchen. Mychael was already seated, cutting into some pancakes. Ooh, pancakes? His smile was bright as I entered the kitchen, his tail flicking closer to my seat as I sat down. A similar stack of mouth-watering pancakes was placed across him, waiting for me to dig in. It does look good. It does look good. Though I couldn't bring myself to muster up an appetite with so many thoughts filling up my head. No, it looks good though. He seemed to notice the look on my face, laughing nervously. You look serious. Something on your mind, Firefly? I picked up my fork, twiddling with it. I'm just worried about getting home. Mychael faltered as he lifted a piece to his mouth. Oh, you're still thinking about that. He seemed annoyed, which was a first. Why are you annoyed? Of course, I've been gone for 3 days. People probably think I've gone missing. His gaze lowered, almost grumbling. Is that so bad? What? Yeah, it's bad. Why do you sound like you don't even care? Mychael frowned, looking up at me now. Why do you sound like you're desperate to leave? What? It's all you ever think about. Are you not happy here? Is it not enough? I sighed, rubbing my fingers over my eyes. Mychael, we've gone over this. I've said it once and I'll say it again. You've done so much for me already, but I can't keep pretending everything's okay here. I want to go home. I need to go home. He sucked in a deep breath, grunting something indecipherable under his breath. I only wanted to. He seemed to be battling himself before he finally sighed. I'm sorry. You're right. Of course you're right. His tone seemed genuine, even if the hurt in his eyes was clear as day. Bruh, why don't you just visit me at my house? You go to the store, you go to the library, just visit me at my house. I'll send you back today. I narrowed my eyes. I mean it this time, I promise. He held his hand over his chest. I swear on my heart. I mean, to be honest, I don't trust him. I don't think he's gonna send me back. I don't trust him. I'm sorry, I don't trust him. My eyes narrowed just a tad. Can I really trust his word? Did I have another choice? Will you tell me what happened yesterday at the river? The river? I already told you what happened at the river. His voice sounded strained at the end. So that's it then. You're just gonna send me home. He nodded. Okay. I paused for a moment before adding quickly. Thank you. He nodded and went back to eating, watching me expectantly as he took a timid bite. It was a moment before he swallowed and spoke again. Can you promise me something? His voice was quiet and, for a lack of a better word, vulnerable. What is it? Promise me. His mouth hung open for a second or two before he laughed. Promise you weren't lying when you said you liked my cooking? That's not what he wanted. That's not what he wanted to ask. I snorted. Are you kidding? Do I look like the kind of person to lie? I'm offended, Mychael. He laughed again, light and airy. But if I dared to look closer, I could tell it was fake. He probably didn't want to make our last moments tense and awkward. The least I could do was meet him halfway. Ugh, I feel awkward. Before long, we found ourselves walking down another path from Mychael's. The route was different today, probably because he didn't have any detours in mind. We walked in silence for a while, the only thing accompanying us were the sounds of nature and our footsteps. I couldn't tell what Mychael was thinking. I knew he wasn't the talkative type unless spoken to, but right now he seemed eerily quiet. His back was tense, eyes looking nowhere but forward. My voice was itching to say something, anything, but it felt like the both of us had some thoughts to digest, despite it being easier to just say it out loud. Still, the silence was getting unbearable. We both halted in our steps at the sound of rustling. Mychael's ear perking in a direction. What was that? His hands were already raising to hold his crossbow, deftly cocking it with an experienced pull of the string until a solid click was heard. Stay quiet. Stay close. I swallowed, my heart picking up speed. Wait, what's in the forest? What, is there freaking bears? He started stalking, low towards the source of the noise, his boots barely making a sound compared to my clumsy footsteps. Girl, if you don't tiptoe? The rustling continued, sounding like a scuffle was occurring between the bushes. Closer, closer, until my ears picked up an unfamiliar high-pitched sound. It sounded like a tiny infant screaming. As morbid as that was, Mychael actually relaxed as he recognized it. His steps hastened silently towards the source, crossbow lowering until we came across what exactly it was that caused the disturbance. Oh, a rabbit! Its small, delicate foot snagged in an old rusted trap. Its little body trembled as it breathed fast and shallow, no doubt scared out of its mind. Oh, wait, why does this make me sad? Mychael regarded it empathetically before unloading his crossbow, disturbed by the caught rabbit, but at the same time relieved at the absence of a threat. Just a rabbit. Sweeping his crossbow behind his back and out of sight, he looked at it for another moment before looking up towards me. Let's keep going then. My mouth dropped in shock. And leave that poor thing behind? He raised a brow, confused at my bewilderment. Yes? But it's going to die! His face twisted into confusion. That's generally what happens to prey animals, yes? He was so nonchalant about it, I had to keep my emotions in check. We can't do that! Look at it! His expression was understanding, if a little annoyed. Annoyed? I am. Someone left a trap. A rabbit gets caught in it. That's how it works. What do you want me to do? I thought you were more empathetic than this. You literally have chickens. Set it free? Obviously. He was frowning now. I can't. If someone is nearby, they'll be suspicious how their catch got free. Does that matter? Animals escape traps all the time. The poor thing is suffering. Sunshine, I know you're smarter than this. If it doesn't die today, it'll die tomorrow. It's a trap to a fox, to a hunter. It probably won't even survive with its injured foot if we set it free. You're prolonging the inevitable. Can't you put it out of its misery then? He hesitated. Do you really want me to do that? No. But even then, we don't even know if anyone's coming back for it. That thing looks so old. He sighed impatiently, looking stubborn in his decision. That's the point of a trap, is to keep things right where they are until you come back. The way he said it, it just rubbed me the wrong way. Does he have traps? Part of me wonders, that mushroom thing that we stepped in, was that a trap for things? To keep people away from where he lives? And the cat got caught in it? He's being realistic. He's being sadistic. I mean, he is being realistic, but I kind of want to say the second one because I just want to see what happens if we say it. I do think he's being realistic, though. I just want to say this. I want to say he's being sadistic. What kind of cold-hearted person says that? I could hardly believe how needlessly callous he was being. I also think he's being a little callous because we're not staying with him, though. Low-key. For someone so sweet with his hens, he was so indifferent about the poor rabbit shaking at our feet. That's what I found weird. Like, why is he so indifferent about the rabbit? I looked down at it once more, my heart breaking as it started to squeak. Mychael. I'm gonna say please? I'd feel bad. My heart was torn as the rabbit helplessly kicked its feet, its cries weakening. My heart was torn as the rabbit helplessly kicked its feet, its cries weakening. For a moment, I imagined Toad being caught in a trap just like this one, left to starve and die when someone could have been there to help him. No, we can't leave it like this. Please, Mychael. His harsh gaze started to soften at my plea. Does it matter that much to you, Firefly? I nodded quickly without hesitation. Please, it'll be the last time I'll ever ask for anything. He paused for another moment before shaking his head with a defeated sigh. Somehow I doubt it's the last time. There was a smile in his voice, though. But all right, I'll do it for you. Stand back, I have to pry it open. My gratitude was clear on my face as he pulled out a deadly-looking hunting knife from his pocket, kneeling down next to the rabbit. The terrified creature started to writhe all over again at the sight of a looming threat, Mychael grunting as he held it down firmly with one hand. It started to fall still under his hold, relaxing completely with its foot hanging limp. Huh, he sure had a way with animals. Oh, he hypnotized it. I backed away to give him space, not wanting to distract him. As he was working to free the rabbit, I looked around to take in my surroundings. The trees felt somewhat familiar, a flash of a memory playing in my mind. Casting one last glance towards Mychael's back, I wandered a bit further away, making sure to stay within earshot. It took a few steps before I came across a familiar sight. Oh, it was the circle of mushrooms from the other day. I recalled that Toad was definitely here. I hesitated at the edge of it, a sourceless sense of fear suddenly coursing through me as I stared at it. Had it grown bigger? What? The longer I stood there, the more the fear dissipated, my limbs tingling pleasantly and urging me forward. Before I realized it, my foot was already lifting to approach it. Is this... I feel like that this is a trap. I feel like that it collects humans or something. Humans and creatures? Closer. Closer. Staring at it, a fuzzy haze creeped over my mind. My face was warm. I found myself smiling at the oddly comforting familiarity, like recalling a fond memory, like greeting an old friend. I knelt down to inspect the growth, reaching out to brush my hand on one of the mushroom caps. Whoa! When someone yanked my wrist back. What? Don't. Huh? Don't touch those. I looked up to see Mychael looming over me, gaze sharp and irises shaped like thin slivers. You have a terrible habit of wandering off, don't you? I gulped. How was the rabbit? Is it safe? His eyes narrowed as I flailed to change the subject. It's free, like you asked. Don't touch those. Yo, Mychael squeezed my wrist before letting go. I rubbed my wrist. It didn't hurt, but his grip had intent. Well, why? What's wrong with them? Nothing. Just don't touch them. I just thought it looked pretty, that's all. Did you, though? I shook my head, feeling disoriented as my mind flickered between thoughts rapidly like a broken radio station. Mychael snapped his fingers for my attention. Look at me, Firefly. His voice was snippy and irritated. Okay, my bad. Uh-huh. I blinked rapidly to ground myself, scratching my head as I tried to gather my thoughts. Talk to me, say anything. Some people think they're magic. Yeah, that's a pretty common belief with mushroom rings, isn't it? I hung on to that thought. Keep going. Like related to fae folk, you know? It's why they're called fairy rings or fairy circle. Mychael squinted before easing, his demeanor just a little less tense compared to before. They do look like they could summon a portal at any moment and whisk you away. Is it a portal? I looked over at Mychael, expecting him to look amused. Instead, he was glaring down at the ground as if the mushrooms were the most vile thing he'd ever seen. No, it's more of an invasive species than anything else. What? I followed his gaze towards the harmless circle of fungus. They are? Should we do something about it? Get a lawnmower! Get a lawnmower! He blinked as if coming out of a daze. No. Sorry, just a thought that slipped out. He pinched his nose bridge, his normally soft voice a tired grumble. Normally I'd leave them alone to do their business, but having you here. Anyways, just don't touch it, okay? He was being far too uptight about something as trivial as a circle of mushrooms. Feels like there's more to it than that. His sigh was exasperated. They just grew in my part of the forest is all. They make me uncomfortable. It definitely felt like Mychael wanted to use a stronger word than uncomfortable, a barely concealed growl between his teeth. What? Why? I thought you liked mushrooms. Mychael's ears flattened. Oh, he does not look like he likes mushrooms. Not these ones. They're not even real mushrooms. They're not? No. He seemed to hesitate before blurting. They just happen to mimic mushrooms. Okay? Oh, I've never heard of something like that. Though there are some pretty wild foliage out there that could copy the look of nearby plants. Does it have a name? His brows scrunched in confusion. What, them? Yeah, you know, as in the species. Oh, I'm not entirely sure. I could recognize them by sight though, so just stick with me when we're out in the woods, okay? I really don't want you anywhere near them. All right, if you say so. I just don't get how they can be invasive is all. I consider it invasive when they come on my property. Okay. Is he really getting this angry over cute mushrooms? I'm gonna be honest, you're acting really weird about it, Mychael. He was getting more agitated the longer we stood there, hands clenched into tight fists. Sunshine, I know I ask a lot from you, but please, let's just leave them alone, okay? Well, why? There's something around. Ah! Okay. You know what? That's my bad, G. I was pushing too much. That's my bad, OG. Look, can we just... I flinched, backing away from him as his voice rang through the trees. A silence passed between us before he took a deep breath. I'm sorry. Please, can we step away from here? He held out his hand. His fingers were trembling. Okay, you know what? He did save us right here. So I'll take his hand. I'm gonna take his hand. I closed my hand around his, noting the way his tail flicked so hard it thumped against his leg. His fingers were calloused against my own, twitching at the unfamiliar sensation. I stepped up beside him, looking at him expectantly. I didn't think you'd take it. Now it was my turn to get flustered. You offered? Dang! I know I did. I thought I scared you, so I figured. We waited for the other to say something, our faces growing heated as seconds passed. He finally laughed, exclaiming something strange and garbled before squeezing my hand. Sunshine, you're really something special. Oh, that's kind of sweet. I hope you realize that. He gave my hand another tight squeeze, snapping me out of my daydream. Let's get you home, Firefly. He's actually taking me home? Mychael took the lead, his footing sure and confident. He must have noticed my unsteady gait beside him, as he subtly veered towards a clearer path I could easily follow. I didn't verbalize it, but I was definitely grateful for that. As much as the forest was growing on me, getting my feet caught in roots and twigs every few steps gets tiring after a while. Our steps fell into rhythm next to each other. I peeked at Mychael every once in a while, trying to gauge his mood after what happened. Even after spending so much time with him, he was so difficult to read. How can someone both wear their heart on their sleeve, yet keep it stitched tight, never letting anyone come too close? I knew he had secrets he wanted to keep close to his chest, but I wish he'd just open up to me a little. The silence that hung in the air was making my skin prickle. What's your favorite animal? That's so random. I was so caught up in my thoughts, I didn't even realize I blurted the first thing that came to my mind. Mychael regarded me curiously, ear flicking. My favorite animal? He pursed his lips in thought before his ears perked. Jellyfish. I did a double take. I was not expecting that. It was one thing for him to have answered, to have an answer so readily, but the choice was something else. Why a jellyfish? I thought it'd be, I don't know, a bird or something. He shrugged. They're pretty to look at least from pictures I've seen. Plus, I kind of relate to them. He said that without zero hesitation. How do you relate to a jellyfish? His expression faltered as if deciding on the right way he could explain his answer. Let's just say I have something in common. What does he have in common with it? The poison? With a jellyfish? Well, one jellyfish. In what way? That they're pretty to look at? A strangled noise slipped past his throat. I just admitted he's pretty to look at. Ah! No. You wouldn't get it. Try me. No. I groaned like a dying whale in exasperation. Shoulders slumped like I had a back problem. He's not gonna elaborate anymore, is he? He probably spotted the vein growing on my forehead as he snickered. Relax, Firefly. You're gonna faint on the spot if you think any harder. If you're allowed to get upset about mushrooms, I'm allowed to get upset about jellyfish. His smile dropped for a second before his cheeky grin returned. Touché. Or touch? Touch? I think he meant to say touché. Touch what? You know, touch. I stared at him, his happy grin shifting into a confused frown. You know, touch. When, it's like saying you're right. You mean touché? He smiled innocently. Yeah. This man will be the death. He laughed at my screwed up grimace, waving a hand hastily. What about you? What's your favorite animal? Cats. Your chickens. He looked taken aback, clearly not expecting that answer. But really? Yeah. Who wouldn't fall in love with those little darlings? He seemed pleased with that answer, his already wide smile softening further. You're right. Who wouldn't fall in love with a little darling? Oh, bro's falling in love with me. Oh, we continued with idle chatter after that. I didn't even know how much time had passed as the trees slowly thinned out, the sounds of nature muffling as the canopy started to grow scarce. Suddenly I heard the soft yet familiar rumble of a car in the distance. I almost didn't pick up on it, fully immersed in whatever Mychael was rambling about. Something about the life cycle of a topsy-turvy door key or whatever it was he called it. Oh, have we really walked that far already? I left Mychael's side and rushed forward. He made a sound of surprise, but followed suit. I neared the edge of the forest just as another car drove past. I recognized my street instantly. Breaking into a light jog, I almost missed Mychael calling for my name as I run down the road. There, my house was visible from where I stood by the street. I was breathing heavily by the time Mychael approached my side, the man barely making a sound as I took in the sight. Oh, I missed this. I turned to thank Mychael, only to startle when a bundled stranger took his place. What the freak? What the freak? I'm sorry, but this is goofy. Sorry. People about. I couldn't see anyone around, but I guess he was right to be safe. I guess this was his version of a disguise. If I were to pass him on the street, I don't think I would have bothered to look twice. I shuffled my feet, feeling awkward now about my previous apprehension. I might have had my doubts about him, but maybe I was wrong after all. He did get me home despite everything. I mean, I wanted to say thank you to your face, but I'll settle for this, I guess. His chuckle was muffled underneath the scarf. He pulled it down so he could speak properly. Did I scare you? I got distracted. Mychael's eyes squinted from where I could see them. I wonder how you don't get lost every 20 steps. Hey! He laughed at my offended tone. You better not go back in there, got it? I'm not always gonna be around to find you. Who says I need you around to find me? Almost instantly, his eyes hardened under his sunglasses. I'm serious. He doesn't want me touching the mushrooms. Don't go wandering in these woods again. Or I might have to start taking drastic measures just to make sure you stay put right where you are. I sputtered indignantly. I'll wander where I please. Sure. He looked over my shoulder towards my house. So that's where you live, huh? Looks cozy. I wasn't sure if he was being genuine, considering he lived in the wooden back ends of the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, I perked up with a thought. A small part of me couldn't help insisting it was a bad idea, but I was too curious not to ask. Do you want to come by? His eyes darted towards me, shock evident on his face. Me? To your home? I nodded. He froze completely. For a second, I thought he stopped breathing. I'd love to... Sudden barking and a shout startled us both, my body jerking forward as his arm yanked me close. I heard a soft rustle as his sunglasses fell to the grass from this sudden motion, his hastily worn beanie shaken off his head. Looking up, it was just my neighbor calling out to their dog. Oh, looks like Vita's back from college. I paused, feeling his grip tighten. I looked down at his hand on my shoulder before glancing up at him. Mychael? He snapped back to the present, his hand releasing me quickly. Sorry. He looked towards my neighbor and their dog for another moment before turning back to me. I don't think it's a good idea for me to go with you. Dang it! I don't want to be seen. Even though I didn't fully trust him, I still felt disappointed at his rejection. Dang it. I thought it would have been nice. It's like I flip-flop between not trusting him and thinking he's a kind of cute, cool dude. I deflated just a little. But you have your disguise, don't you? He shook his head insistently. I can't risk it. It's better this way. He spoke with a finality that was starting to become familiar. If he wasn't willing, fine. At least I was. Before he could pick up his accessories, I gently grabbed his wrist. Though I couldn't help feeling he had one too many secrets to keep, it wouldn't hurt to get to know him more and figure them out. Then can I come visit you instead? What? I huffed impatiently. If you won't come to mine, then I'll go to yours. Once again, he was rendered speechless. Why would you ever want to see me again? At this point, I was starting to look and sound peeved. For all his good traits, the constant need to build his walls higher around me was starting to get annoying. I folded my arms, looking stern. His eyes widened as if in preparation, ears flattening like a cat in the middle of a scolding. Mychael, can you just accept the fact that maybe I enjoy your company and wouldn't mind more? I'm sorry, nobody's ever... But you wanted to go home so badly. Oh, this man is hopeless. Yes, of course I do, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna forget about you completely. Besides, I promised I'd show you what phones could do, didn't I? Dismissing the fact that there's probably not much I can show when there's no data in the woods. I'm sure you'd be enthralled by whatever dinky mobile game I had installed at the time. The point was, I just wanted to see him again. So that means I get to see you again? I picked up on the eager tone in his voice, realizing he wished for the same sentiment. See, this is what I was saying from the beginning. Visiting! We don't have to stay in the woods, but visiting. Yeah, I want to. His voice warbled for a second. Firefly. He cleared his throat, laughing to himself. Sunshine. You can't imagine how much that means to me. A lot. It means a lot. Oh, this is actually kind of sweet. More than you know. I nodded, a giddy smile creeping into my own face. How's next weekend? He tilted his head. That's 7 sundowns from now. 5. His smile widened, eyes squinting in absolute delight. Okay, I'll meet you here then. I smiled at him, figuring this was goodbye. I wasn't my best self in the last few hours spent with Mychael, being closed off the moment he held back information, but maybe a simple gesture could make up for it. Hug him, thank him. You know what? Maybe I'll just hug him, why not? I didn't think twice. Arms spread and wrapped around him before he could react. Mychael froze from head to toe, inhaling sharply as his shoulders tensed. For a second, I thought I triggered a fight or flight or freeze response. It took a few seconds before he shifted to reciprocate, eyes lightly pacing his hands on the small of my back in a loose hold, fingertips splayed awkwardly along my spine. I think this is his heartbeat. He seemed to gain confidence as he wrapped his arms around me properly, a shaky sigh leaving his body as he relaxed. A faint rhythmic rumble emitted from his chest, my eyes widening at the strange feeling. Was he purring? I knew I heard that sound before, but he was definitely purring. I didn't have time to dwell on it for long. His grip was getting tighter. Tighter. Tighter! I was about to sputter out a gentle protest when another car passing by made him jump and release me. I had to step away to catch my breath after the squeeze. His arms dropped to his sides with a blank stare in my direction. Bro almost killed me. Uh-oh. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see his hands clenching tightly as if holding himself back. I looked up at him, expecting him to say something first. Instead, he just stared at me like I grew a third eye. I quickly cleared my throat, cheeks starting to burn. Anyways, I gave him one last light punch to the shoulder. It felt like punching a sack of grains. I'll see you next weekend. Ignoring the heat on my face, I looked both ways before jogging across the street. My neighbor in their yard looked up as I approached, their eyes lighting up in recognition. Sunshine? Their hands fidgeted with the frisbee in their hand as they approached their ever-loyal Leica following close behind. Why does it look like the dog is standing? I was wondering where you've been. I dropped by to give you some cake over the weekend, but you weren't home, and you didn't answer your phone, and your packages were piling up at the door end. I held up my hands in a placating gesture. Vita, I'm fine. At our feet, Leica was dutifully pawing at their elbow to calm them down. Their mouth stopped midway through another sentence, blinking rapidly. Sorry. They reached down to pat Leica's head, significantly calmer as they asked me again. Where were you? Where have you been? I was, visiting a friend. For a digital detox? Off the grid and all that. They blinked slowly, nodding. Oh, that sounds exciting. By the tone of their voice, they didn't mean that at all. Oh, what about Toad? Did you manage to find him? My mood instantly dropped. I forgot about Toad, I ain't gonna lie. No. That's why I went away in the first place, you could say. It took a few seconds for Vita to understand what I meant. I'm sorry. It's fine. They straightened, a flash of empathy on their face before they smiled. Well, Leica and I are around for a semester break if you need anything. We should do a movie night. Maybe that'll lift your spirits. I found this really good one I think you'd like. I did some research and I feel like it's right up your alley. Leica and I could take a quick drive to the store, so just let us know when you're up for it. I could get your favorite snacks and stuff. Leica gave a happy bark at the familiar word. A fond smile quirked up my lips. Thank you, Vita. I'll bring the orange soda. Their expression lit up happily. I wonder if Mychael is watching. Take care. I bid them both goodbye to walk up my driveway. Once I got to my door, I had an urge to turn around one last time. I was surprised to see Mychael still standing by the forest edge, shadowed by the trees. Oh, he was watching the whole time. Our eyes made contact, his own a fierce, piercing yellow shining against the shade. I gave him a big wave. It took a moment, but he waved back. Smiling to myself, I unlocked the front door and let myself inside. It was surreal standing in my doorway again. I felt like Alice who had just woke up at the end of a book, feeling like I dreamed of Wonderland. I tossed my keys and my backpack by the hall carelessly before plugging my phone into the charger. I dreaded playing catch-up with the people who might have tried to reach me during my absence. Work, family, friends. I groaned aloud, flopping into the living room couch. Well, at least I had this weekend to look forward to. That's all from day 3 of Mushroom Oasis demo. Bruh, that was actually really good. I loved it. I actually really loved this. That might be one of my favorite visual novels we've played recently. Like the music, the actual writing and storytelling, the actual characters. I am intrigued, I am enthralled, I am invested. I'm actually really invested. So I think I got the neutral ending, but there's still other bad endings to get. So if you guys want me to try getting them in another video, just let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join the squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
My shawty's up in here, this a anthem. Walk up in the room, still a beauty with a mask on. And just laid up, y'all be smoother than a panther.